So this is my local branch of the food warehouse, and I came in here just to have a wander round, and things turned ugly very quickly. Let me run you through what happened. I've got a copy of the CCTV and we'll look at just how many laws they've broken. So this is what happened. I just thought one evening I'll go for a wander around the food warehouse. I'd already been to Sainsbury's and Lidl before going in there. They're all kind of within walking distance in my town centre. So I don't normally go to the food warehouse. I just thought, oh, I'll kill a few minutes, see if there's anything interesting in there. To be honest, I thought everything was a complete rip-off. So after a few minutes, I just walked out and I hadn't even touched anything. I hadn't even picked anything up off the shelf. My hands at all times had been by my sides holding the shopping that I'd bought from other places. So there were two checkout areas. One was in use, the other one was empty. And so I walked through the empty one. And as I went through there, this big guy just jumped in front of me, this security guard, and he was intimidating. I mean, I'm quite tall, but he's even taller than me. He wasn't wearing any SIA badge. You'll notice that in this image that I took of him on my phone. And already that's a criminal offence under Section 9 of the Private Security Industry Act. You must wear your SIA licence where it can be seen at all times. Anyway, he kind of pounced on me. He blocked my path so I couldn't escape. And he immediately said, I need to search your bags because I saw you walking in this shop carrying no bags. You were empty-handed when you walked in this shop. I said, no way, mate, no way. You're not searching my bags and you're wrong because I walked in with these, as your CCTV will show. I haven't even touched anything in your shop, let alone stolen it. But he was aggressive and intimidating. I think he'd maybe been on the wacky backy as well. There was a strong smell of weed, and his eyes were red and bloodshot. You can probably see that on the picture. And his behaviour was very kind of agitated and erratic. And he was absolutely adamant, I was not going to leave this store. He said, I need to search your bags. You're not going anywhere. And I said, no way, you're not searching my bags. Now, security guards and people who work in shops do not have the legal right to search your bags in any circumstances. But what I did say to him was, okay, you carry out a citizen's arrest on me now under Section 24A of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, and then call the police. I will cooperate. I will be perfectly reasonable. I will wait here until the police arrive, and then the police can conduct a lawful search on me. But you are not searching my bags. No way. Now, this citizen's arrest power under Section 24A of PACE, security guards can exercise this power, but they are on rocky ground, really, because they need to be absolutely sure that somebody is guilty of an offence. When the police carry out an arrest or a search, they can go on reasonable suspicion, but it's a higher bar for a security guard. They need to be absolutely sure. And this guy said to me, no, I'm not calling the police. I'm searching you. And he was aggressive and wouldn't back down. And this was a standoff. I couldn't escape the store. There I was, standing there. Now, this footage you can see I obtained from the food warehouse head office, which is part of the Iceland group. And I got that under a subject access request under GDPR. Now, I'm not happy with the way they've redacted the footage. They've blurred out everything except me, which kind of defeats the object of it, because then you can't really see the interaction and the proximity between me and the security guard. Anyway, what this does show is this interaction went on for 10 minutes and he wouldn't let me go, and he wouldn't back down, and I wouldn't let him search my personal property, which had nothing to do with him. The bags had nothing to do with him. What's inside the bags had nothing to do with him. This went on and on for exactly 10 minutes. Eventually, I thought, if he's that convinced that I've stolen things, I went to get the lady who was the cashier on the till. I think she might have been the manager. And I said, can you just come here for a moment and witness this, please? So I did put my carrier bags down on the end of the till, and I took everything out one by one. Now, just through a stroke of chance, every product I had was an own brand product of either Sainsbury's or Lidl. So it had their branding on the packaging. So I didn't even need to get my receipt out. You could clearly see that these things were not on sale in the food warehouse. And this woman who worked there, she didn't apologise. She just said, yeah, that's fine. Let him go. And this security guard just sheepishly backed off without apologising. I asked him, have you recorded this on your body cam? And he said, yes, I've recorded everything. He was looking, well, like he had egg on his face by now. I have no idea why he was so adamant that he'd seen me walking in with no bags, but he was wrong. I suppose the reason in the end that I gave in to the bag search was time was getting on. I had to be somewhere, and I could have waited there all night if we'd ended up waiting for the police to arrive, and I didn't want to waste police time like that. So something, I suppose, had to give in the end. I should mention as well that this security guard was really loud and vocal with his accusations against me. And there was a queue of customers on the next checkout who were like an audience. And he kept saying over and over again for 10 minutes, I saw you enter the shop with no bags. In other words, you're a thief. He was broadcasting this to probably dozens of customers that walked past while all this was going on. Now, this is the town that I live and work in, and it's defamatory to publicly broadcast that someone's a thief. Can you imagine the damage that this could do to someone's professional reputation? Anyway, I came to do this subject access request against Iceland's head office in North Wales, and I dealt with a solicitor woman at their data protection or their legal department, and I said to her, I want all the CCTV from the fixed camera on the ceiling showing me walking in the shop holding the bags, which would completely exonerate me against any further accusations. And I want the body-worn camera footage from the security guard, because he told me it was recording the whole time and it will have the whole interaction on it. The footage she did supply me with was incomplete. It only showed the interaction between me and the guard, but it didn't show me walking in the shop with the bags. Now, this would have been filmed on the exact same camera because the entrance and the exit were the same. Now, I find this highly suspicious. When I questioned this solicitor about this, she said, the footage of you walking into the shop has dropped off the system. Sounds like a cock and bull story to me. And she also said that the security guard's body-worn footage couldn't be located. Maybe he forgot to upload it. Yeah, what a coincidence that he forgot to upload it. Now, it's perfectly obvious what's been happening here. Iceland knew, because I hinted very heavily at the beginning that I might take legal action against them for maybe false imprisonment. So they decided to be very careful about the evidence that they handed over to me. They were creative in deciding what would go missing and what wouldn't. because they didn't want to make my life easy if it came to court. Now, that's naughty. They really shouldn't be doing that. Another thing was they refused to give me the security guard's SIA number, which I am entitled to know by law. Now, my next step was to go to the Information Commissioner's office with a complaint. Now, they deal with everything data protection related. They answer to the government, and they carefully went through my complaint. They looked at all the video footage, and they came back with a judgment in my favour. They said that Iceland has not complied with its obligations under data protection law. So there we go. Iceland didn't apologise when they got this judgment. They just didn't say anything. They just went very quiet indeed. And then there's also the issue of the woman I've been dealing with at Iceland's head office. She's a registered solicitor, and she has to abide by a code of conduct for solicitors. She also has to abide by what's called the civil procedure rules. Now, there are very, very strict rules here on evidence, on making a reasonable search for evidence, disclosing it to the other party, and preserving evidence as soon as litigation is contemplated. That means if the other side hints at the fact that they might be going to take you to court, you can't suddenly lose or destroy all the evidence, which I think is clearly what's happened here. So let's just run through quickly the things that Iceland have done wrong from a criminal and civil point of view. Firstly, we've got false imprisonment, which doesn't have to be using physical force. It can just be stopping someone from leaving a building. And then we've got defamation of character by screaming to the general public, you know, that I'm a thief. Then we've got the failure by the guard to wear a SIA licence, and the refusal by head office to give me his SIA number when I asked for it. We've also got the breach of data protection from Iceland's head office, selectively providing the bits of footage that they wanted to provide. Then we've also got the civil procedure rules breach by the solicitor at their head office by not disclosing evidence and not retaining evidence. So really, this is about what I perceive to be a complete lawless attitude by Iceland. They've just got absolutely no regard for the laws of the land whatsoever. They think they're completely invincible and they can do whatever they want. Now, it's all very well, these big companies going on about shoplifting and the money they lose, but they can't take the law into their own hands. They can't behave like thugs and vigilantes. And I'm hearing stories more and more of this kind of thing happening to people in supermarkets. And I just don't think it's right. I think somebody's got to hold these companies to account. They've got to abide by the law just as much as citizens have. So let me know, please, in the comments if this has happened to you, because I think it's quite a big thing now, and I'm considering legal action to hold Iceland to account for what they've done wrong. If you enjoyed this, please hit subscribe, because that's the kind of thing I want to do more of on this channel. It's about the little man versus the big, arrogant company. It's about upholding our rights when they behave in a very arrogant and lawless manner. So thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Take care.